I'm pleased to introduce today's esteemed speaker, Dr. Indu Bokan, District Education Officer, Gurugram, Mr. Pradeep Chaudhary, Chief Judicial Magistrate cum Secretary, District Legal Services Authority, Gurugram, and Dr. Kanupriya, Professor and Associate Dean, School of Law, Ansel University. It's a pleasure to have you all. Just a little information before we start. If you have any questions during the webinar, please type them in the chat box. We can bring them up in the end. And I request you all to please mute your mics during the webinar. I would now like to hand over to Harshvardhan to introduce our first speaker for the day, Mr. Pradeep Chaudhary.
Thank you, Dharna. Good afternoon and welcome to one and all present here. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Harshvardhan Agarwal from Ansel University and also the co-convener of Ansel University Legal Aid Clinic. Now, without further ado, I will turn the time over to Mr. Pradeep Chaudhary. He joined judiciary in 2011, also worked as Principal Magistrate Juvenile Justice Board, Gurugram. He is currently posted as Chief Judicial Magistrate cum Secretary and also a member of District Legal Services, Gurgaon, and also a former lawyer at District and Session Court in Sector 12, Faridabad. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Am I audible?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
So now I would request you, sir, to say a few words on the our topic, percolating education for girls child in rural India.
Thank you, Dharna and Harshvardhan. It's an absolute privilege to be part of this webinar on percolating education for girl child in rural India. And it's more to be an honor to be part of this webinar as a speaker. As obviously, ma'am, Dr. Indu Bokan couldn't join for some technical issues, and she must have been the best person to express her views on the education of the girl child in rural India. But I will be taking this opportunity and sharing my personal views and the legal side, which ultimately led to the empowerment of women and girl education in India. So before
Excuse me. Good morning. Good afternoon, sir. I'm here in the webinar.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. So you have joined?
Yeah, I'm joined.
Yeah, she's joined in the name of Devansh Kasana. Yeah.
Okay, so we have ma'am.
Yeah. So, ma'am, I request you to please switch on your camera so that we can, have a glimpse of yours. I think, Pradeep sir, we can continue.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So, well, to begin with, I will like to go into the historical background as well as the development, which ultimately led to this empowerment of girl education in rural India as well as in the urban areas. Well, to begin with, as we all know, the Constituent Assembly was formed to draft the Constitution of India, which was ultimately adopted on 26th of November 1949 and which came into force on 26th of January 1950. At the time of enactment of Constitution of India, right to education was not a fundamental right. It was merely taken as a directive principle of state policy in Part 4 of our Constitution. Now, going by the Article 45 of Directive Principles, it was only made a duty of the state to ensure that education was provided to the child up to the age of 14 years. And obviously, it was a directive principle, so it was not enforceable. So, every child was not getting the education who was up to the age of 14 years. So ultimately, it was in the year 2002 that 86th Amendment was made in the Constitution of India, and Article 21A was added, whereby it was made a fundamental right of every child between the age of 6 to 14 years for free and compulsory education. And now going by Article 21A of the Constitution of India, Right of Child for Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009 was enacted, whereby several provisions have been made so that free and compulsory education could be provided to all the children, and trained teachers and other necessary staff, they have to be taken up on roll by the government concerned so that free education could be provided to all the children between the age of 6 to 14 years as a fundamental right. Now, our today's topic is basically focusing on the education of girl in rural India. Now, before going into much of the details, I will like to throw some light on the survey conducted by National Sample Survey in the year 2014, which only goes by the data depicting the people or the number of people, percentage of Indian population who can be considered as literate. So going by the data collected in 2014, females in urban India were literate up to the extent of 74.8%, and the data of rural India was only 56.8%. So it shows there has been a tremendous difference in the level of literacy amongst the females in rural India as well as urban India. Now, I will like to say one more thing. There is a big difference between the terms education and just being a literate. In dictionary meaning, the term literate is being used as a ability or capacity to learn, understand, and write. But obviously, being educated, it's more of a higher degree, like being having the skills, having specific education, specific degree, so that one can use that education for his or her overall development. So it will not be wrong to say that every educated person can be considered as literate, but every literate person cannot be considered as an educated person. So if I differentiate these two things, so obviously the percentage of female in rural India who are literate to the extent of 56.8%, the percentage of female in rural India who can be considered as educated will be very less. So basically, I have gone through some of the data, and I have gone through around 15 to 20 schemes which have been enacted by our central government over a passage of time, which are specifically focusing on the education of female child in rural India. First of all, I came across a scheme which was launched by the government way back in the year 2004, which has been termed as Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidhalya scheme. This is basically focusing on the education of underprivileged girl child in rural India. Basically, this has been a great success, and underprivileged girl child in rural India, they have been focused and shortlisted for being educated. Similarly, there has been Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, that must be in the knowledge of all of you, that basically is focusing on the education of male as well as female child, but the special focus of lately has been shifted to the girl education, and that too at the elementary level. Now, similarly, there has been one Udan scheme which has been launched by CBSE, which is basically focusing on the providing resources to the girl child who are in +1 and +2, so that they can prepare for admission in best engineering colleges all over India. And lastly, we all know there has been a scheme recently launched by our Honorable Prime Minister under the name Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Abhiyan. Basically, this scheme, you can say, is an exhaustive scheme which is focusing at ensuring the female child are born, nurtured, and well educated without any discrimination with the empowered section of the society. So basically, these four schemes, amongst other schemes, I have found to be specifically focusing on the education of girl child in rural India. And obviously, over a passage of time, we will find that a large change would be noticed in the rural India in case education is given to female child. Now, if I personally talk about myself, obviously I also come from rural background. My father had the opportunity of going to school and ultimately joining the college and going for higher degree. But my mother also came from rural background, but she couldn't study beyond 8th class, because obviously for going to the higher education she had to go to the far off areas, and obviously at that point of time, due to lack of transportation and other resources, my mother couldn't go to the higher education school. So basically, obviously, being, the fact that mother was educated, so my mother also stressed upon this fact that I should be, concentrating on my studies, and obviously I should be studying. So I have personally noticed this thing, if the female child in rural India is educated, she will definitely help in the education of the persons who are connected to her in one or the other way, either in the relationship of a sister or a mother or a daughter. She will definitely be having a far more, long term impact than the male section of the society. So basically I will request to the Ansal University and also to our legal aid councils who have joined this webinar, to ensure that if they can be of any help in any way, that they can promote girl education in rural India, they shall definitely do that. And I will be using this occasion and this stage, and I will hereby like to assure that in case District Legal Services Authority Gurugram can be of any assistance to ensure that there can be, providing resources as well as platform for underprivileged or even education to the female child in rural India, we will be more than happy, and we will be treating it as our utmost duty to ensure that education is provided to the girl child in rural India, because obviously, in addition to being a directive principle, it is also a fundamental right, and no child should be devoid of that. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
True, sir. Rightly put up by you. But as you said that apart from all the schemes and all the campaigns launched by the government, I wanted to ask a question, if I may have your permission.
Yeah, sure, please.
So, apart from all the campaigns launched by the government, still in rural India, the girls include restrictions on freedom, a lack of opportunities compared to the boys. Usually, the girls have a feeling that they are less safe or faced more harassment as compared to the boys, and the girls are generally soft subjects, and which can they can only excel in languages, history, art, and music, whereas the boys are considered to be great at sports, mathematics, and computing. So it is the orthodox thinking of the parents. So what are your views on that?
See, well, obviously, this issue has to be addressed. Obviously, if you go to the rural areas, even in today's era, you will find that most of the women are literate only. They
Yes.
just have the ability to know, understand, read, and write. That's all. The possibly the purpose or the mind setup still is that we have to educate the girl, then it's better be like she has done her senior secondary education is completed, or simply she is pursuing the graduation. So obviously that's what I mean. If the mother of the child is educated, and obviously she will be supporting, so obviously things will change over a period of time. But yes, in my personal opinion, yes, if you ask about the safety measures and everything, well, I find the rural area comparatively safer than the urban areas, for the simple reason, because rural area population doesn't have that migratory group to such an extent. So obviously all the people are known to each other, so there cannot be so much of I will say the safety issues and all. But yes, obviously the standard of government schools is not in anywhere near to the status of private schools. And surely if you go to the rural schools, uh, one doesn't even feel like getting to the school and sitting in the classrooms and all. So obviously when you don't have that cordial atmosphere, you don't get to study over there. Obviously, if I personally talk of my daughter, even if I take my daughter to a government school, in a rural area, she might not be liking it. So obviously, the government has been trying its level best, to upgrade the government schools, and obviously things are going on the right track. But yeah, obviously they will take time. And yes, here comes our duty. That's what I was saying. Obviously, you being, the students, law students, and the students of Ansal University, and our legal aid panel advocates, and obviously district education officer, we being district legal services authority. Yes, the awareness programs, they have to be initiated by us. Obviously, if you ask a girl child, who has just passed out her 10th exam or +1 or +2 exam, she might not be aware of the career options available to her. Obviously, parents are not educated to such an extent. They themselves, the people who come from farming sector and all, obviously the parents are hardly 10th pass or +2 pass, whatever. So obviously they don't know about much of the career options. So here lies our duty, that we should be focusing on particular villages if we can, through webinar, or through, we have so many people around. We have block development panchayat officers. We can get in touch with sarpanch. We can get in contact with nambardars. So the basically awareness has to be spread by us, and it has to be through legal aid councils. It has to be through district legal service authority. It has to be through you and through the university. So the basic point is, there is lack of awareness. Obviously, you are in Ansal University. The kind of setup you are getting possibly might be we were not getting. And to be very honest, while you are students, you have this opportunity of being the coordinator of webinar. But in our time, we never used to have webinars, and we never had that opportunity to be sharing the stage, or even having that opportunity to speak in front of such a huge gathering. So obviously you have that exposure, and you have been using the possibilities and the opportunities to best. So obviously, in case we spread the awareness, and we make them aware of their rights and the career choices they have, obviously things will change. Surely things will change.
Thank you, sir. Very rightly said. As we are the ones, we need to take stand so as to change the orthodox thinking of the parents in the rural areas. Very rightly said. Thank you, sir. Now I would request Dharna to introduce another guest, Dr. Indu Bokan.
Thank you, Harshvardhani. A very warm welcome, Indu ma'am. First of all, I'd like to apologize for the technical glitch, and we'll commence with your introduction. So we have Indu Bokan ma'am with us here, and she is a PhD in physics, MA in education, LLB and diploma in training and development. She has commissioned in the Indian Army in 1993 and was the first lady officer from Haryana who has worked in Army Education Corps. She joined Education Department in 2002 as a principal. She also worked as senior specialist in DIET Gurugram. She was also promoted as the block education officer in 2012, and she served as the deputy district education officer in 2018. And she's working as a district education officer till date. We are extremely delighted to have you on board, ma'am. I would like to invite you for your presentation, ma'am.
Thank you, Dharna. Good afternoon. Today in this session, I shall be sharing with you all some inputs about school education in respect of girls. If we go back in history, I'll start from there. Then we get to know that first formal school for girls was started in 1848, almost 190 years back. And it started in Bhidewada in Pune. That time, the lady who had started this school, Savitri Bai, when she used to go to the school, people used to throw stones, pebbles, eggs, tomatoes on her, and she had to carry an extra sari to go to the school. So that was the condition at that time. Since then, a lot of changes, tremendous changes we have witnessed. And Constitution, as sir had just mentioned, has helped a lot in bringing women at par. Like equality of employment opportunities, equal work, equal pay, voting rights are there, National Commission for Women and Ministry of Women and Child Development is established, To protect the educational rights, RT is in place. To safeguard the survival of the girl child, this PCP and DP Act, Janni Suraksha, they are in place to give her the protection at the workplace so that she feels secure at workplace. Sexual harassment committee at workplace is in place. Also, maternity reliefs are given to the ladies who are working. In 2014, Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji started with the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Abhiyan, and this was basically for the survival, safety and education of the girl child. Still a lot needs to be done. The punitive actions by the government have helped in raising the sex ratio. That was from 833 in 2011 to 923 in August 19 per thousand boys. However, Gurgaon, if I see, had seen the highest in 2017, that was 901, and again after that it is presently below 900. So, though lot has been done, I feel still in the rural area, if I see, the mindset about the women has not changed much. If I see the literacy rate also, literacy rate of the women in the last census was 65.46%, which was much below the national average of 74.04. And further, if you study the statistics, you'll find that it is further lower in the rural areas. Actually, in rural areas, if you see, the female child is deprived of many rights. As I mentioned before, it's because of the mindset of the people who treat girl child as pariah dhan, and they do not want to invest in her. And also the hidden fear is there, and that fear is that if they get educated, they will interfere in decision making and they may get financially independent. That hurts the Purush Pradhan society ke aadmi ki ego. So that is the problem. So there are, if I see the dropout rates or out of school children data also, I find that the percentage of girl child is more in it. Special efforts have been put in by the state education department in hiring agencies along with the teachers who conduct surveys and bring these students to the school after conducting the bridge courses under SSA, which is now called Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan instead of Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. And vocational education has also started in the schools, and girls specific streams also we are providing, like beauty and wellness. Incentives are given to all the deprived sections, including the girl child. That is, the midday meal is given, in which we are even providing milk these days. 200 ml milk is given thrice a week. Free textbooks are provided, free uniform is provided, free stationery is provided, cycles are provided. And also, if there is a problem of the transportation for the girl child, the principal can hire the cab or the bus depending upon the strength, which is the payment of the same is reimbursed from the government funds. So there is a lot that is happening, and a lot can be spoken about it. I personally feel that education actually is the backbone of any country, and if it gets affected by any means, then our human development index also gets affected. So I think lot is happening and lot needs to be done. There are a lot of awareness and sensitization programs that we are conducting in the schools and also in the villages to change this mindset of the people under Beti Bachao Beti Padhao and legal literacy cell as well. So in fact, I would prefer that if the queries could be asked and I answer those, I think that would be better.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving us such insights. In fact, I also really feel that the education is the building block for growth of any nation. I would like to request everyone to please mute your mics. And if we have any questions for Hindu ma'am, please type it in the chat box. Okay, so we have a
Yeah.
question from Tanya. She says that as the current pandemic, we are having online classes. But what about the children in the rural sections who have lack of technological equipments? What can we do to make sure that they are not left out?
Yeah, thank you, Tanya, for raising this question. In fact, I'll share here that when we talk of the education, there are two types of schools. One is the your private public schools, and then the second is the your government schools. Now, in these government schools, generally, which are there in all the villages, and cover almost all the rural part of the state. Um, we are not focusing much uh, you see Android smartphones or the tablets or the something like anything, any gadget like that. In fact, we are working in two ways. I'll share. First is that we are giving all the knowledge, and I'll say because it is one, most of the times it is one way, that we are providing with the 4 EduSet channels on the TV on the cable network. Now TVs are there with all the households, whether in the rural you see, even in the Jhuggi you will find that people are having the TV. So we are telecasting our programs, all the educational program. There are 4 channels that are in fact allotted to the education, and that one channel is only for the primary, the second is for the elementary, the third is for the 9th, 10th, and the fourth is for the 11th and 12th. Daily there is a schedule which is shared with all, and students are watching the programs on the EduSet channels on the TV. Those students, I'll be happy to share with you that we are also every day, all the officers, all the teachers in the education department make 20 calls to the students. Arbitrary 20 calls we make every day to find out how the education is happening actually in the field. We may be transmitting lot of knowledge, but whether it is reaching students or not, that is more important. So we were happy to find out that these EduSet programs which are telecasted on the TV, we also share the YouTube link of these with the students. And the students in Bihar, in UP, in Rajasthan, in Bengal, they are watching these programs, these EduSet channels program on their Android mobiles. So we were so happy that there was a feel that the migratory population has moved out and how their education is happening. So even they are connected with us. So we are more dependent on EduSet channels on TV, though we are also having this Ghar Se Padhao Abhiyan, जिसके अंदर टीचर्स अपना YouTube पर वीडियोस बना करके शेयर कर रहे हैं, बच्चों से डायरेक्ट शेयर कर रहे हैं, Zoom पर क्लासेस हो रहा है, डिफरेंट मोड्स टीचर्स अपने इनिशिएटिव्स लेकर के भी बच्चों को पढ़ा रहे हैं. द ओनली प्रॉब्लम व्हिच वाज कमिंग विद अस इन द EduSet channel telecast was the doubt clearing of the students. So we have started with that also on Saturdays and Sundays. Throughout the week they send their queries, and on Saturdays and Sunday we answer all the specific questions being raised by the students.
I think, ma'am, this is something really amazing that this is how the education has been done in the rural areas. So
Actually,
thank you so much
I
for that
will-
answer.
I
Yes,
will
sir.
like to point one more thing to this, what Tanya has asked. Well, obviously, her question is regarding the online classes. Obviously, as per her, they are working in the urban area, but not in the rural sector. But I would like to throw some light on this. Except 5 to 6 districts in entire state of Haryana, you won't even find online classes going in every school, in every private school rather, in the urban area. The main reason behind that is obviously on account of this pandemic. School fees are being not deposited by all the parents. Fees, salaries are not paid to all the teachers in the private schools. So in majority of the districts, if you leave 5-6 districts, if you go to Kathal district, if you go to Jeend district, and if you go to Hisar district, even in Jajjar district, you won't find online classes going on even in the private schools. But I think, if I will be wrong, Indu ma'am will correct me. I think the situation as well as the scenario in the government schools are much better. Obviously, every person is having a smartphone at his or her home, and obviously, mobile data facility has also almost reached to every corner of India. So I don't think there must be much of the issues with the online classes in the government schools situated in the rural areas. But still, if there are some issues, obviously they can be addressed too. And obviously, Indu ma'am has told they must already be doing efforts on day to day basis to ensure that online classes or the education of a child in rural area or the rural villages, they are not affected to a great extent.
Yes, sir. I would further like to share here, sir, that these EduSet channels that we are using for reaching out the children for their education, the other states are following us. Now our ACS was called in different meetings to put light on the how the education is happening in the Haryana, and I think it was ranked number 1 in the whole India, as we are giving education during this pandemic that in the government schools. Further, sir, I didn't mention at that time that we're using the this Gurgaon Ki Awaaz. This is a rural broadcast radio station which covers all the rural area. So we are using Gurgaon Ki Awaaz also for reaching out to the students. Further, the students who are not having TV, who are not having Android mobile or the smartphone, we are having only simple mobile. There are different activities which we share with them through text messages only. And there is one agency, one NGO, which is employed only to reach out those students through the text messages. They ask them to carry out activities. They give them the steps to carry out the activities. Students perform the activities and learning that way. That is. Thank you.
Okay, so ma'am, we have 2 questions more. Advocate Arun Shokeen wants to ask that are all the schools connected with the CSR policy, and how much of CSR investment is utilized in the modernization of the government schools?
Okay, CSR actually is now handled by the DC office. There is a CSR advisory board, and through DC, sir, we get the projects. And whatever, like the total amount, I can't I can't tell the amount that has been spent so far. And however, there is a particular committee, there is a Mr. Gaurav who is handling all this on behalf of DC, sir, all the CSR projects which are happening in District Gurugram.
Okay, so there is another question that we all have seen that even in the private schools, there have been a lot of bullying, be it boys, be it girls. So is there any anti-bullying policy to prevent the quitting of schools by girls? As Harshvardhan said, that a lot of girls feel that they're not safe going to school, and there will be a problem if they go to school. So is there any policy based on the bullying?
Yeah, it is there in the, sir would be able to tell exactly the law, but there is no corporation, no bullying is allowed in the schools.
Okay. And ma'am, I have one personal question. Can I ask?
Yeah, please.
So I have personally seen so many girls, like whenever I'm going to the market or wherever I'm going, I've seen so many girls, the vendors, they're working as vendors, selling vegetables or any general thing in the market. So what should be done to make sure that they go to school, or what can we as law students can do to make sure that they can go to school?
Yeah, sure, Dharna. I'll share with you that if you find any such girl, child, or any child who is not going to the school and is in the particular age group, in that case, that child has to be counseled. The parents have to be counseled, and we have primary school in each village. There's not a single village without a school. So we have a primary school in all the villages. There is a middle school at around 1 kilometer, and senior secondary high schools at around 3 kilometers. We have already started with the upgradation programs of the schools as well. So these students are to be counseled and to be told that they have to go to the school, and these are the facilities that we are providing them. So generally, these are the migratory people who do not know what the government of Haryana is offering. So once they are told, I don't think there's much of problem. In fact, if I see that after RTE, people are quite aware, and as far as the primary education is concerned, the dropouts or even the like out of school children, especially I'll talk about, are minimal.
Okay. Uh, so there is another thing which I would like to ask, that how is the evaluation of the success rate is done? Like is in any kind of education platform, how do you see that the success rate is happening, it's not working, or how can we, see that?
Yeah, we have a lot of assessment processes in place. When it comes to the academic outputs, we have the Saksham Abhiyan, in which we work on the competencies of the particular class. Suppose it's a class 1 or any class that matter. So competencies of each subjects are identified, and on the basis of those competencies, students are assessed. And you'll be happy to know that Gurgaon, especially I'm talking of Gurgaon, that 80% students are above the grade level efficiencies. जो उनकी grade level हमने capacities उनकी decide की थी, 80% students have achieved that. It's a great success.
Yeah, I mean it's commendable to hear that, ma'am. So I'm
I would
really
like to ask a question. I would like to ask a question from all of my panelists, that as an informed citizen, what should we do now in this current pandemic to help the students in the rural areas, and especially the girl child? What should we do?
Should I answer first?
Yes, ma'am, of course.
Yeah, in fact, we have also started a small effort that the girls' child who are not having the smartphones, we have collected the old smartphones. Like I have the new one, my old one is lying just like that at my place. So that phone, if it is in order, it is proper, we have collected such kind of mobiles and donated to the, especially the girl child who are doing well in the rural area, so that they get connected to the classes on the YouTube as well, that under the Ghar Se Padhao Abhiyan. Now the problem that we are facing is that if there is a one Android phone in the family, now after these factories have opened up, industrial area has opened up, so the parents have started going to the their factories, to their respective workplaces, and throughout the day they don't have the mobiles now. Now they get the mobile in the evening once the parents are back, and then they attend the classes. So I mean, you're welcome if someone can help us out, so that the technology can reach the students, because in this pandemic, I think technology has stepped in and it is here to stay. So if someone can come forward to help us with that, you're most welcome.
Yeah. Ma'am, we have another question from Ishan Sachdeva. Anyone can answer this. So he's saying that how can we improve the hygiene, as my recent visit to an empty school which hasn't been used for a while. There was no provision of sanitary napkins. So could something be done with which could be done to improve this particular aspect? So he's basically talking about the sanitary napkins. There's nothing as such for that. So what is the provision for that?
Yeah, I'll answer this also. In fact, we have started working on the menstrual hygiene, and private through CSR vending machines. We have started putting in the schools, in the girls' toilets, where they can find out the napkins. But most of these napkins are free, but somewhere the cost is also there. Say 5 rupees for 3 napkins, something like that, so that there is no wastage. People know the importance of, the girls know that they have paid for it, and they don't have to waste it. So vending machine, the concept is already working, and though we have not reached 100% schools, but yes, girls schools we have reached out, and in sanitary napkin incinerators are also installed in. So we are working on this.
Okay.
I will like to add to this question which has been raised by Ishan Sachdeva. I will like to say one thing, that obviously during this pandemic, obviously we get to interact with the jail authorities on regular basis, and as you must be knowing, there has been a special female ward which has been constituted in every district jail, So during this pandemic, when I got a chance to interact with jail superintendent and few female inmates staying over there, they had started preparing these sanitary napkins within the jail premises only. So the I think the cost was also very less, and obviously if they were preparing, so they must have been prepared with the very basic procedure and the process which could be easily available inside the jail premises. So in case ma'am Dr. Indu Bokanji can somehow get in touch with the jail authorities, so they can get to know how they were preparing in the jail premises, so that in case machines or the sanitary napkins, they could be made available in the schools in the same way. And secondly, I will like to say, obviously, to ensure that hygiene and everything they are being maintained. Obviously, the duty has to be imposed upon the teachers as well as the school principal. Obviously, it's our duty that we keep it, not a duty, rather we prefer to keep our homes clean. So I think we should be going by the same process, and we should be ensuring through our principals or the class teachers that hygiene is maintained in the schools, at government schools also. If hygiene can be maintained in private schools, then I don't find why such standard can't be achieved in the government schools. So, in case a check or a committee is constituted at every school level, which should be weekly monitoring the hygiene level or the cleanliness in the schools. And if that committee is, made answerable, or, submitting its report to the higher authority every week, so we may notice, drastic changes appearing in the cleanliness in the school level, because obviously, as long as no staff or no government employees made responsible or no committee is constituted, nobody is going to work. Everybody will say, okay, I am on the job and I come and I go. So obviously, in case we constitute a committee and the committee has to submit its report, then obviously you will see remarkable changes in the hygiene level also. Thank you.
Sir, noted, sir. However, I would like to submit one thing here. The problem we lack here in the government schools when it comes to the class 4 employees. In all the primary schools that we have, so 300 plus primary schools, we don't have any sanction post of class 4. So what we are doing is we are putting part-time, say 1 hour on the 1 hour basis, 3 hour basis types, no, as the government gives us the sanction. Accordingly, the part-time employees are working in the schools, and that is why the standards of hygiene and sanitation, that what should be maintained in the schools, we are not able to. Now, what the teachers are doing is they're pooling in money from their own pockets and employing the people to keep the schools clean. That's what actually on the ground is, sir.
But ma'am, I will like to add one more thing. If you're specifically, talking of the rural area, obviously teachers must be pulling and they are doing a great job. But obviously, one can easily interact with the BDPOs and the sarpanch and all. Obviously, there are people who are, even having the duty, or who are on the duty of cleaning the villages and everything. So they can be made to clean the school on rotational basis. So it can be somehow worked by having a meeting with the sarpanch or the nambardar or BDPO concerned. I don't think it will much of be the issue, because obviously, being the residents of the same village, the people who otherwise work in the fields and all, they can voluntarily to come and extend their hand on the rotational basis.
Sir, we tried this. The problem that we had faced in this particular aspect was that now the villages, most of the villages, they say that our students are not there in the school. These are all the migratory population, and though they are ready to give the person, but they said you people pay. So there are on the ground, there are certain problems, but we are trying our level best to keep the schools clean, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. I would ask Dean, ma'am, if you could like to add something here.
Yeah, a very good evening to Pradeep sir and Indu ma'am. So, ma'am, my only major concern here was, recently there's a girl, she's from Mewar district. So she did a research work under my guidance, and this was solely the topic where we discussed. And we found out few common reasons as to why the girls are not able to excel in education in these areas. So specifically, we talk about Mewat and Palwar district, which are nearby here. So these are the two most backward districts in terms of education, we can say, when it comes to girl child specifically, because till now we have always considered, okay, fine, girl is a property of the house, and she is meant to do all the kind of, whether it is a household work or any other work, services to the other members of the family. So she is made responsible to do all that. But now, since the times are changing, so what requires to be changed is the mentality of the parents as well. So although we have seen that there are families wherein the girls, they struggle a lot and they emerge out of this complete structure, and they actually acquire a good education. Certainly, state has done the best. State has made right to education as the fundamental right, and specifically when it comes to primary education from 6 to 14 years, it is compulsory on the part of the state to provide free and compulsory education. And on top of that, we have the midday meal scheme and all that. Today only I was reading in the newspaper that the even the children who were getting midday meals, but just because of the fact the schools are shut and they are not going to the school, so they are also dying of hunger. So they have gone back to the streets to sell small items and earn for their livelihood. So these are some pretty issues wherein certainly the government has done a lot, has come up with various schemes, but somehow or the other we are still not able to change the mentality of the people in the rural areas, which is of utmost necessity. So, Pradeep sir, I would request you that if there are certain projects, as we did for legal aid, last year we did a wonderful project in the villages to spread awareness about the legal aid, domestic violence, and all that. If a similar kind of project can be run in the villages pertaining to the girl education, so we are very close to Mewat and Palwa district; they are not far off. So these two districts can be easily captured, and awareness can be spread through the law
Even,
students.
if I specifically, take up the issue of education of girl child in rural area, obviously it has to be understood. The existing circumstances or the prevailing circumstances are different, are entirely different in the urban as well as rural area. In urban area, you just have to convince the parents, and in
Mhm.
case you get to convince the parents, you will get the desired results. But if I talk about the rural aspect or the rural area, then there, that is in itself a complete unit. You can't simply counsel two or three families and ensure you will get the desired results. If even if you convince two three families, they will send their children for a week or 2 weeks or max for a month, then they will drop out. See, basically, it has to be a project to be launched at a mass level. Obviously,
Yes.
we have to understand this thing, that respectives of the village, like panches or the sarpanch or the nambardars, or
हेलो
and other related
वेबिनार
person,
चल रहा है मेरा सीजीएम सर के साथ में कॉल बैक
and such people, they have to be taken into the loop. They have to be projected, and obviously we have to work through them. See, it's basically, it works like that. Obviously, if I am coming in Ansal University, I have to come through you. If I directly come over there, I will have to disclose my particulars and give my introduction to every person, and then I will have to work. So in case we have that respectables of the village, we will have that platform, and we should understand this thing. Whatever they say, that carries a lot of weight. So
Yes.
obviously, in case we get those people into the loop and they work with us, only then we can see a remarkable change. Otherwise, if we think okay, we will go to a particular family and we will convince them, that way things are not going to work, because
So
basically they go
certainly
with the
it has to
society.
be a mass campaign kind of a thing.
They go with the entire village setup. If people
Mhm.
will see that girl child are going to the school, everybody will send them. Basically, that is, जैसे हम कह देते हैं भेड़ चाल वाला काम है,
Exactly.
that completely works in the rural setup. So obviously we have our panel advocates, they create awareness and everything, but obviously that starts and that ends within a week or a month. After that, there is no
So
feedback and
quickly it
everything.
starts, so quickly it ends.
Yeah, so basically we have to, work on a different platform and with a different strategy for every rural setup. Obviously, when we go to Mewat, we have different kind of setup, we have different kind of ideologies. If we think we can change the ideology, sorry, we can't do that. We have to work within that ideology, and we have to ensure how we get our work done. Obviously, if they will understand, obviously they will also adapt to that. So that's the way we have to have our exhaustive plans. We have to coordinate with all possible office bearers, with universities, with social services, with NGOs, with district education officers, with DLSAs, and obviously with the respectables of that very village. And if they will raise a voice for us, and if they will advocate our concern, then that will work. Otherwise, it won't work. Surely, otherwise, it won't work. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yes,
May
sir.
I submit 2 points on it, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
I
Please, ma'am.
want, yeah, sir. 2 3 years back, we on this Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, when the campaign 2014 it had started in 16 or 17, sir. हम लोगों ने प्रयास किया था एक नाटक कंपनी को हमने हायर किया था, नुक्कड़ नाटक क्रिएट किया था एक, एंड उस नुक्कड़ नाटक को हमने हर स्कूल के अंदर बच्चों को दिखाया था। वो पहले से बताया भी नहीं गया था कि आज आपका नुक्कड़ नाटक होगा। वो एक्चुअल में स्कूल में जाते थे, डफली बजाते थे, बच्चों को इकट्ठा करते थे और ऑन द स्पॉट वो परफॉर्मेंस करते थे। एंड परफॉर्मेंस ऐसा होता था, जब वो इनिशियली स्टार्ट होता था तो सब लोग हंसते थे, बातें करते थे, एंड बाय द टाइम वो हाफ एन आवर का था सर, 30 मिनट्स में जब एंड होता था तो एवरी वन यूज टू बी इन टीयर्स एंड बॉयज यूज टू प्लेज कि हम गर्ल्स का ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट करेंगे। इस कन्या भ्रूण हत्या को लेकर के उसमें जितने भी बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ से तीनों जो इश्यूज मेजर हैं सर उसमें कवर किए हुए थे, और बहुत ही उसका जबरदस्त इम्पैक्ट था, क्योंकि इक्वालिटी अगर हम बच्चों के माइंड में स्कूल से ही डाल पाए तो वो परिवार में भी जाएगी और वो समाज में भी जाएगी। तो दैट्स हाउ वी हैड ट्राइड एंड इट वाज अ वंडरफुल एक्सपीरियंस। एंड फाइनली वो जो नाटक नुक्कड़ नाटक हम लोगों ने क्रिएट किया था कंपनी के साथ, मतलब एक एजेंसी के साथ में, वो राष्ट्रपति भवन में उसको बुला करके उसका परफॉर्मेंस, उनको पहले हमारे स्कूल का रिकॉर्डिंग भेजा गया था प्रेसिडेंट हाउस में, फिर प्रेसिडेंट ने खुद उसको देखा था, एंड दैट आई मीन बहुत अच्छे से उसका जो आउटपुट्स थे, बहुत ही वंडरफुल एक्सपीरियंस वी हैड सर। एंड सेकेंडली सर, आई वांट टू मेंशन अबाउट मेवात। आई हैव बीन डिस्ट्रिक्ट एजुकेशन ऑफिसर इन मेवात आल्सो। मेवात में जो बच्चे हैं वो व्हेन आई इवन कंपेयर विद द गुड़गांव, देयर IQ इज मच हाई, एंड उनका जो मेवात में जो एजुकेशन का सिस्टम है वहां पर प्राइवेट स्कूल्स नहीं है, हार्डली प्राइवेट स्कूल्स आते हैं। एंड चाहे वो उनके घर में फॉर्च्यूनर है, चाहे उनके घर में आपके पास कोई भी बड़ी गाड़ी है, बट बच्चा उनका सरकारी स्कूल में ही पढ़ता है। एंड क्योंकि बच्चा उनका सरकारी स्कूल में पढ़ता है, पूरे गांव का इंटरेस्ट स्कूल के अंदर होता है, एंड हर गांव के अंदर उन्होंने पंचायत में से कुछ लोगों को नॉमिनेट किया हुआ है टू विजिट द स्कूल डेली एंड सी वेदर देयर प्रॉपर स्टडीज आर गोइंग ऑन और नॉट। एंड मेवात दैट वे इज फार अहेड देन इवन गुड़गांव। एंड जो रिजल्ट्स की बात भी मैं कहूं तो लास्ट ईयर व्हेन आई वाज डीओ देयर, 10th का जो हमारा रिजल्ट था, बोर्ड रिजल्ट, वी वर 7th इन स्टेट। तो ये जो बोला जाता है कि मेवात रूरल है और मेवात में कुछ नहीं है, ये सब बहुत गलत है। मेवात बहुत अच्छा है और मेवात में बहुत पोटेंशियल है। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So basically the point is, in case we get the participation of the respectables of the village, it will give us the desired results.
Yes.
Sir.
Okay, so I think we have two more questions. Before moving forward, I would like to take them up as well. So the first question is the counseling of teachers for special children conducted, or any special arrangements for special children, boys or girls, for the sake of their right of education has been initiated or is in process?
I would like to answer. At block level, we have the ICDS centers. I mean, these are the centers for the children with special needs, where the teachers are employed and the students come at these centers. And where the students are not in the position to come to these centers, the teachers visit them at their home, and it's happening on the ground.
I mean, that's great. And there's another question from Advocate Arun. He's asking that what are the efforts which are made to control the dropouts, along with the attempts to increase the more number of girls in schools?
Yeah, as I already mentioned, teachers जो है हमारे time to time survey करते हैं. Along with the teachers, under समग्र शिक्षा अभियान, we have hired HPPI, Humana People to People India, and these people actually जो उनका teachers है जिसको पे गवर्नमेंट करता है वो डोर टू डोर, रोड टू रोड, पार्क टू पार्क, मतलब दे जो उनको एरिया एलोकेट किया जाता है उसमें वो एक एक जगह जा करके बच्चों को आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं. If these students are not at par to get admitted to the schools, then उनका एक ब्रिज कोर्स कंडक्ट करते हैं, उनको इस लेवल पर लेके आते हैं कि उनको एज अप्रोप्रिएट क्लास में, अंडर आरटीई एडमिशन इज अंडर एज अप्रोप्रिएट क्लास, सो उसको एज अप्रोप्रिएट क्लास में ला करके मे बी समटाइम्स एक अप डाउन करना पड़ता है क्लास, क्योंकि अगर उसका उतना ग्रोथ नहीं हो रहा है जितना एक्सपेक्टेड है तो कभी एक क्लास ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है. देन दीज चिल्ड्रन आर एडमिटेड टू द स्कूल्स. एंड इन बच्चों को भी, जितने ये बच्चे हमारे थ्रू सर्वे हमारे पास आते हैं जो ड्रॉप आउट्स हैं या आउट ऑफ स्कूल, में कॉन्सेप्ट भी क्लियर कर देती हूँ ड्रॉप आउट और आउट ऑफ स्कूल का. जनरली इसमें कंफ्यूजन रहता है. ड्रॉप आउट बच्चे वो होते हैं जो स्कूल में कभी पढ़े थे और फिर वो पढ़ाई बीच में छोड़ दिए, और आउट ऑफ स्कूल बच्चे वो हैं जो कभी स्कूल आए ही नहीं. तो ये दो तरह के बच्चे होते हैं, तो इनके लिए अकॉर्डिंगली ही ब्रिज कोर्सेज होते हैं. और इन सभी बच्चों को जो हमारा गवर्नमेंट स्कूल है, जैसे मैंने बताया कि हर गांव के अंदर हमारा एक प्राइमरी स्कूल है, उसी प्राइमरी स्कूल के अंदर इनको प्लेस दिया जाता है, सो दैट दे नो द फॉर्मल एजुकेशन के पैटर्न में भी आ जाते हैं कि भी स्कूल जाना है, क्लास में बैठना है, वो भी सीखते हैं ये बच्चे. और इनको भी हम मिड डे मील जो फैसिलिटीज हम बाकी बच्चों को देते हैं, इन बच्चों को भी हम वो फैसिलिटीज देते हैं. सो इससे हमारा जो ड्रॉप आउट है वो भी कम हुआ. एक्चुअल में अगर आप स्कूल्स में देखेंगे तो ड्रॉप आउट रेट जो 9 to 12 का मैंने अभी देखा था, जो हमारे यूडाइस के परफॉर्मा भरे जाते हैं, एज ए डीओ आई एम डीलिंग विद क्लासेस 9 to 12, सो मैंने उसको डेटा को स्टडी किया था टू चेक ऑन दिस ड्रॉप आउट रेट. तो इट वाज 0. 9 to 12 इन गुड़गांव द ड्रॉप आउट रेट इज 0. सो मे बी कि यहाँ से लोग छोड़ करके अपना एसएलसी स्कूल लिविंग सर्टिफिकेट लेके अपने स्टेट वापस चले जाते हैं, बिकॉज वी हैव लॉट ऑफ माइग्रेटरी पॉपुलेशन इन आवर गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स. तो वो स्ट्रेंथ ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है, बट ड्रॉप आउट इज नॉट देयर इन हायर क्लासेस. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving your insights. In fact, you have motivated me to do more. As I would also like to tell that we at Legal Aid in Ansel University, we have been doing a lot of things, be it distributing sanitary napkins or, doing nukkad nataks. So I think I have got a lot of, things to know that what else we can do as a part of Legal Aid. And is there anything else which you would like to cover, ma'am?
Yeah, one thing I would like to cover here, that the change in the education pattern that we are forcing with this pandemic coming in. जो अभी तक हमारा जो स्कूल एजुकेशन होता था, इट वाज लाइक टीचर बेस्ड ऑन हिज और ओन विजडम और नॉलेज, बच्चों को ज्ञान बांटता था और थोड़ा एक्टिविटीज भी होती थी बच्चों को. बट नाउ अब जो हमारे पास एजुकेशन आगे आगे जो चेंजेस इसमें आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग कि बच्चों को रेजिलियंस के ऊपर बहुत दिखाना चाहिए, सिखाना पड़ेगा हमें. उनको कम्युनिकेटिंग स्किल्स के ऊपर बहुत हमें ध्यान देना पड़ेगा. उनको हमें इस तरह से ढालना पड़ेगा कि जो सिचुएशंस आती हैं उस सिचुएशन के अंदर वो किस तरह से इन्फॉर्म्ड डिसीजंस ले सकते हैं, किस तरह से जो ये बच्चे हैं ये अपना जो अपने स्किल्स इस तरह से डेवलप करें कि वो आगे जो मुझे लगता है कि जो प्रोफेशंस आज हम देख रहे हैं कि almost 50% new professions would come in. So we prepare them for those forthcoming professions as well. जिसमें मुझे दिखता है जो अभी मैं देख रही हूँ पैंडेमिक के दौरान कि हेल्थ को स्पेशली को लेकर के जो इंडियन ट्रेडिशनल हमारी नॉलेज है, जैसे चाहे वो योगा की है चाहे आयुर्वेदा की है, इट मे गो अहेड. सो साथ में रोल ऑफ टीचर भी जो है वो हमारा यहाँ पर चेंज हो रहा है. Teacher has to play more as the role of the facilitator. Then वो preach बता रहा है, lecture दे रहा है, उसकी बजाय the role has to be changed for the teacher also. So I would wanting to share this with you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. In fact, I also believe that communication skills, or be it soft skills, it's really important, even today in the modern world or even in the future. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insights. Now, I would like to move further, and it's a pleasure to introduce one of my favorite teacher now, Dr. Kanupriya. She is a PhD in constitutional law from Punjab University, Chandigarh, with over 16 years of blended experience in legal practice and academics. We applaud her immense contribution for being the trailblazer and forging the way ahead for our School of Law. Her contribution in the field of academics and research has been truly inspiring. With over 20 articles in national and international peer-reviewed reputed journals, her participation in seminars and conferences has always been valued and appreciated. Her teaching areas include constitutional law, administrative law, interpretation of statutes, and legal drafting. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dharna. I think we had a very elaborate discussion on what the current situation is during pandemic and how the educational structure altogether is changing. And in this changing structure, I think we generally, go back to demonetization sometimes, wherein a kind of digitization was imposed upon all the people. No, you just cannot, go in for a cash transaction, so you have to go digital. So that was a kind of force. And similar is the force here now when we say that no, you have to adopt technology come whatsoever. And I think education is one such sector which has really excelled when it comes to, inhibitions and limitations and restrictions during this COVID crisis. So, keeping in view the current situation, still, I think many of my doubts have already been cleared by Indu ma'am, whereby I was thinking that, the education in the rural sectors has largely been affected. So, I think now I believe that the people out there, they only don't have access to gadgets. So once they have access to gadgets, so probably their half of the problem will be resolved. And the people who actually want to study through YouTube channels or through TV channels, TV education channels, so everything they have recourse. Of course, we have seen in various various activities which are initiated by MHRD through their education channels. Also, they have floated lot many online courses, whether it be for the primary sector or for the higher education, all taken together. I think the government has taken its lead in making the resources available to the people. So now it is the duty of the people to grab those resources in the best possible way, widen their horizons, and grab the best they can and provide the best of education to their children. So girls are no more lagging behind. So it's only is that the willpower is required to be generated, and specifically when we talk about the rural areas, we have to generate that sense of responsibility in both the genders, not only in the female gender, but in both the genders. The male gender supporting the female gender to come forward, and the females, they should lose out their inhibitions and come forward and adapt to this education. Because without education, we simply cannot grow. So education is considered to be the most important, fundamental pillar of any country's growth. So I won't take much of the time right now. We have had all the insights. So I just had one query here. So we always used to say, private schools are emerging in a much better way than the government schools. So I think now is the time wherein the government schools, because recently there was a news published that, because private schools, parents are not paying the fee. And while parents are not paying the fee, it's difficult for them to sustain their expenditures. And in such scenarios, majority of the, even the smaller the small private schools, they are coming to a closure. And in such scenario, is it the time for the government schools to come forward and gain that kind of popularity in the market and rise above the private schools? So that was my specific question to Indu ma'am as well as Pradeep sir.
Well, to begin with, ma'am, when I think Tanvi asked the question, I was already sharing this thing, okay, we leave Gurgaon and other 3-4 districts, we will not even find online classes going on in the private schools. Like I have personally, talked to my friends in Kathal district, in Jean district, and even in Panchkula. And I have heard that many of the schools, they are not running any of the online classes for the simple reason parents have not been able to pay the fees, monthly fees, for one reason or the other. And on account of that, the school is not able to pay the salaries to the teachers and all and other stuff. So obviously, the entire system has not been able to work properly. So obviously, that's one criteria for sure. But to be very honest, and to be coming very blunt on the very face of it, personally I feel Delhi, Chandigarh, there you find the status of government schools comparatively on a better footing.
Better.
Even if suppose we must all are here, so I don't know how many of our known persons whose kids they are studying in government school. Even my daughter is going in a private school. She is having her online classes. So obviously, the very fact, I can't even name a person or a two, who are sending their kids to a government school. So obviously, the very fact, the persons with enough resources or good resources or the sufficient means, even they are not sending their kids to the government school. So I think it speaks volume for this thing, okay, how much they can step up the gas and match the level of the private school. So obviously, I won't say that the government is not working on that. Obviously, the government has been working on that, but obviously there is a lot and lot of gap between the private school and the government schools as of now, which has to be covered up. So obviously the day the persons like you and I we start sending our kids to the government school, I think that should be the benchmark that the government schools have reached the level of the private schools. Obviously, government schools they have been doing their best, but obviously they have been going at a uniform pace. But obviously, private schools they have taken labs in multi-dimensional ways, and they have been going ahead. Now obviously the lockdown has come. Now there is unlockdown period and pandemic is still in existence, and governments and as of now, if, as I already said, I personally feel that government schools in the rural areas they must be the best ones, for the
Yes.
simple reason the pandemic has not so much of the impact in the rural area. This is the first reason. And secondly, obviously they are being paid by the government, so there is not that crisis which we are facing in the private schools in the urban areas. So possibly if I talk of this pandemic, obviously we will find the government schools performing better, but the time and it has to be seen when the things get normalized, then whether the government schools will be able to keep up that pace, or private schools will ultimately get back to the track. So rest, I think Dr. Indu ma'am will be better placed to answer this thing.
Thank you, sir. Very rightly said. But Indu ma'am had to leave as she has to go somewhere and or she has to attend some meeting. So the floor is open if anyone wants to
Yeah,
ask any question.
Harshvardhan, I'm still there. I would like to answer and then I'll take the lead. Particularly this question of the government and the private schools के बारे में, we just had a statistical data with us. We compared the strength on 6th of March and then we compared the same strength on, say for the same classes on 6th of June. And you'll be surprised to know that though the migratory population around say 30% people, minimum 30% people have moved out, still we could see a rise of more than 3,000 students in 3 classes only, that is 9th, 10th and 12th. So the intake of students in the government school has increased during this pandemic. Now that is a separate issue, whether we would be able to retain that or not. Because the one handicap is of the language also. We have only one English medium school in each district so far in government, that is the Sanskriti schools, model Sanskriti school. where the strength is already very high. And at this time, most of the students who had left the private schools to join the government schools are wanting to join the Sanskriti school. So there is a limitation on the, depending on the infrastructure available, we can't have any number of students into that. But yes, in the present pandemic situation, the strength in the government schools has increased. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful insights. Now, I would like to really thank everyone, and of course our panelists who pointed out on such a sensitive matter. And on the behalf of School of Law, Ansal University, I, Harshvardhan, would extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all the speakers here, Indu ma'am, Pradeep sir, and Dean ma'am, for sharing the imperative insights into the important subject matter. And I also extend a very heartfelt thanks to our Vice Chancellor for giving us the opportunity to conduct this event and being a guiding vision for all of us. And there's also one request I would. There's a feedback form being shared to you in the chat box. So if all of you could fill in the feedback form before leaving the session, it will be really great for us. Thank you, everyone, and stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Pradeep, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Tahanna and Harshvardhan. Thank you, Kanupriya ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, dear students. Please take care. Stay safe.
You too, ma'am.
Thanks everyone to join in.